Doubling. Maybe it's kind of.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening to in the country. Welcome to Monday mornings, Coaches and Coffee with Sheila James. Oh my God. I have two of my most favorite people in all the world with me, Abbie Weiss and Lloyd. Good morning, Abbie and Jean.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right. Well, today, listen, everybody up on the edge of your seats. We are having, as far as I'm concerned, Women Poised for Greatness, the turning point. As far as I'm concerned, this is the most important weekends of your life. It's one of the most important conversations that we'll be having in 2021. Jean Lloyd and Abbie Weiss are two of the speakers who will be presenting in this Leadership Women's Summit. And I want to just start the conversation off. We're going to jump right into it because you know that's what we do at Coaches and Coffee. And I want you to create this in the background of living with purpose. Everybody got their coffee? We got our coffee. Come on, ladies.
Like
and so here we go. So I'm going to start it off and start to create Women Poised for Greatness, the turning point. Sheila, what are you talking about? Well, here's what we're creating. See, a turning point is a time at which an important change takes place in the future of a person. And in this case, in the future of women, in the future of our roles, in the future of who we now need to be, maybe completely distinct from who we've been in the past. If you look in the world, women, who we are has, you know, in a cliche of Atlanta, we are rising up. We have stepped up. We are poised. We are in a dignified position to make a huge and monumental contribution to humanity and society. So this change, a turning point, is not just a change. It's a very significant change. And since the pandemic specifically, and we've uncovered, the pandemic more than anything has uncovered what's really working and what's not only not working, but it's unworkable. And there are the things that we will do and contribute to this conversation that no one else will. So I'm not kidding, July 16th, 17th, 18th. Those of you who are scrolling by, thinking about it, liking other stuff, that's okay to like the little jokes and the memes. But right now I'm asking you to like your life, to own your womanness, to own your power. Your husbands need it, your children need it. They're making requests directly or indirectly The world needs it. The Senate needs it. The Congress needs it. I'm serious. It's a blind spot for people, and it's who we're going to be in the matter that's going to shape and change the direction of it all. So, all right, Abbie, I know I said a mouthful, Abbie and Jean. And we're going to just start right. Well, anything about what I said before we jump into a turning point that you've had or you've seen for yourself? Anything for you?
One thing that as you were speaking, I'm a big note taker, so I'm always writing down what people say. And when you created the definition of a turning point, that it's a time in which an important change takes place, which affects the future of a person. And I think that what I heard for the first time in all of the conversations we've had about this is that you can either wait for that experience or that time to happen to you, or you can cause that time to happen. And I think we've noticed especially over the last 16 months, we definitely waited for some things to happen for us to, now we're making change.
Yes.
And I think the opportunity of this event is for us as women to say, we're not going to wait. We're going to actually cause the time. We're going to cause the time at which an important change happens. So we're not like having to react and respond to something, but we're causing it. And when you cause something like that and you create that kind of disruption, there's so much power is there. And I think that's one of the opportunities of a turning point. This isn't about waiting until something's happened. Now you've got to make some change, which is what I've done in my life.
Yeah.
And many other people, I'm sure. This is about, we're creating a time. And that time is July 17th through 19th, right? Like we're
16th through 18th.
For that change to happen. So that's what I wanted to say. That's what I got newly.
Beautiful. Abbie, that was just well said too. Jean, what about you?
Well, I think that when I hear turning point, it means that whatever I've been before, or whatever I've said before, or whatever I did before has nothing to do with right now. It's almost as if, how we've got to live going forward from all the change that's occurred is we've got to be people who are able to grasp the moment and take the actions that are necessary and have the conversations that are necessary and literally bring leadership to it, not wait. And all the waiting has had a massive impact. But I think for the first time, I think the true turning point is that the people are turning. It's not we're looking for someone on high to tell us what we're going to do. It's like we're going to take to the streets. We're going to walk that talk, and we're going to do whatever it takes to wrestle back our future and to claim it. And going forward, make sure we never sleep like we have slept before.
Wow. Amen. Hallelujah to that. And on that, I mean, seriously, it's, we can take what the three of us have said, and there's so many points and angles to it. So on this weekend, really, in the way the young people are now teaching us, we're like getting woke, like get woke. And some of the topics that we're going to speak to are our legacies, our legacy files. Someone's going to actually speak to, I'm going to give you a little mouthful, but then I want Jean and Abbie both to share a little bit about what they will be bringing to the conversation. God, I was just so impacted by the building collapsing and those people that were trapped and their families. And then there's that. And that always happens when there's a tragedy or loss or an amount of grief, even if it's just something small. And, one of the persons speaking, Andrea, but then there's the grief, but then that's dismantling what's left, your documents, your files, your what do we do? And we're going to deal with that because that's a big, big deal. And it's a big, big missing. And in the pandemic, over 600,000 people died and are still dying, maybe not at the same rate in America, but in some other countries. But my point, just that piece, we've been asleep to it. We've not been dealing with it with integrity in a way that's going to leave our families. Gosh, the grief disappears in time. But the other things that are there to deal with, that's there forever. You got to deal with it. You know, my dad passed in 1994. We still have a garage full of his books. Just books. And so my point is, we're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with wealth. We're going to deal with inherited legacy. We want to deal with our health. We've got to make changes with our health. We have a breast cancer world-renowned oncologist that's going to speak. On my birthday, first of all, my sister just recently was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's now completed her treatment. My best friend has completed her treatment, almost. She's almost complete. But for my birthday, I chose breast cancer as a fundraiser. And they had this really important statistic, so bear with me, listeners, that every 2 minutes, a woman gets diagnosed. Every 2 minutes. And, my assertion is there's something by now that we can do about that. And we have an oncologist speaking with us that weekend on, a diagnosis. It's not a death sentence like it used to be. So we have various conversations, is what I'm saying, to begin to expand and deepen the context in which we're living, the direction we're going. And then we have entrepreneurship and solopreneurship at a level like never before. There are over 400,000 people said they're not going back to work. They're not working for minimum wage. So you're likely to go to Target somewhere and there's nobody there to check you out because they said we ain't coming back. So this has been a real societal impact, a personal impact, a professional impact. And we want to begin to confront this as a conversation with women. And like I said, there will be nothing like this in America. And I know because I scroll Instagram and Facebook. All right, so Jean, I know that was a mouthful, you guys, but I get excited about this because we got to shake it up. So Jean, Abbie, let's hear from you, your turning point or something you saw and or are seeing.
Well, I can talk about, in a lifetime, there are many turning points, but then there are some that are more profound than others.
Yes.
And I think a very recent turning point was when my father, when we thought he was going to die. And I remember I was at work. I was working for a client in New Jersey, and he asked me to step in and be an acting CEO until he was able to find one. And I was working with his staff, and this text comes up on my phone, and it says, "Jean, call home quickly. Dad may not make it." And I hadn't really confronted that. You see the people that you love, and we're extremely close. And you see these people that you love and these people that are there day in and day out. And of course we'll be together. And that day I just said, nothing's worth it without him. It just came up like that. And as I started to process and get present to the grief, which was overwhelming, it hit me in a big wave. And then I went, you have yet to grow up. Like, who told you that they weren't going to die? You're existing on this planet and you're not even related to their, I confronted my own death. I didn't confront theirs.
Right.
And then, oh my God. And that's when I got the real opportunity in all this was for me to grow up into bringing leadership to my own family. And my mom and dad talked to me about we want you to take over everything. We want you to be the matriarch. We want you to make decisions. And then I just looked at that and I said, yes, of course. Of course I'll do that. And I think that that's when where my leadership and what I was doing as it relates to community and culture went to a whole nother level. Because that's when I saw the opportunity of legacy in ways I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
And that while personally I was deeply impacted and, oh, please don't go. And I don't know what I'll do with myself if you're gone. I got real clear about that. That's okay. That's a humanity. And now, how are you going to indelibly impinge on the world, the power, the legacy of the Lloyds, the Lloyd clan? And I went, I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to getting in language the real opportunity of bringing leadership to the world, to your family, to your life.
Powerful. Jean, just powerful. Oh my God, so moving, seriously. And then Miss Abbie, what was one of your, I mean, we've had so many turning points.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think I'm going to speak to, for me, and I think it's for me where I stand in terms of women really, and in the work that I teach, women taking ownership of their life. And, you know, I had worked for an organization for about 12 years, was working 80 hours a week, 85 to 90 hours a week. And I couldn't leave. It was the weirdest thing. It was like, I couldn't, it felt like the other side or whatever was out there occurred as so scary, frightening that I wouldn't be able to find myself. Who am I? You know, massive imposter syndrome going on, right? And I think what's interesting is for women, when we don't listen to our bodies and what they're telling us to do, we're too powerful, and we start fostering an environment that creates what we want anyways. And what I wanted was to leave. And I didn't have the courage to say it. And I had found my identity there, and it was who I was. And so I lied. And I put myself in it wasn't even like a big lie. Like, I really wish I had done like a big lie, you know, a lie worth lying. Like, let me lie about $1 million versus like literally like where to report something. It was just such a stupid thing. But it was, for me, I think subconsciously the only way I could get myself out. And, you know, then I told the truth and before they came to me, all that jazz. But I remember thinking to myself, it was for me one of the lowest points of my life. Like, I remember I was at Whole Foods and I was just sitting there, and I realized what I had done and then why I had done it. And I felt really low and just like not empowered. I felt disconnected from what was possible. I felt disconnected from God in that moment. It was just like, I just didn't think I'd ever find my way back. And I remember having this thought, like, you're now trying to survive. And that's not a life worth living. And so I called my manager and I said, I lied and I'm leaving because I now have just demonstrated to myself that I'm surviving something beautiful and great and awesome called transformation, you know? And, but now I live this life. It was a turning point for me because what was on the other side was a little scary and it was a little jarring. And I didn't know who I was on the other side of all of that. And I wasn't known in the world. You know, I wasn't like some person who'd written a book or anything. I'm just, you know, I'm Abbie, and I'm here because I feel like God's put me on this planet to make a difference for people. And so, and I'm passionate about women's agency and that they declare that agency and sovereignty for themselves. And in that moment I did. And, you know, now I'm an entrepreneur and I have 2 businesses, and it's fun. And I actually think being an entrepreneur is the most transformational program that you could ever do. I mean, because you got to see all your dark sides and all your shadows and all the stuff that you don't want to do and the whys. And so for me, that's probably the most recent turning point, of where it was really a major time for change that altered the course of my future. And there was a mixture of it happening to me and then my causing something to happen. And I think that, for the women who are listening, and, I'm sure men are listening to this too, this applies to you because you are a human being, but one of the things that I think for us as women is to declare our sovereignty, that we are sovereign beings with agency and we have a say, and that we do not operate the same as men, and that we have some serious magical powers within us. But we'll talk about that during my talk. But so I think for me, it's like, it was this moment of, I get to really choose in this moment the direction of my life. And I said, here we go. And it was scary and nauseating and awesome and, but yet beautiful at the same time, because it's caused this life.
Yeah, no, that's just so beautiful. And there's so many women and men, as you say, who are listening. Listen, men, not to exclude you. We're creating something for you too at St. James. And right now, this is for women. And men, if you're listening, you want your women here.
That's right.
We want every woman, every walk in life, women who go to church, professionals, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, mothers, all of us. This is to impact all of us in our commitments, in our goals, in what we care about, and what we deal with, and what we now need to. We're also, and you can hear it in Jean Lloyd and Abbie Weiss, pointing us in the direction that we're headed, and the things and or actions we want to take or what we want to create in moving in that direction inside this. This is a significant change in society, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. And gosh, I've had, Jean, you want to say something? You popped up. That was your voice. Go ahead. Well, say something. You're never.
I was just curious about solopreneur. Like, what does that mean? And then the definition popped up, which said someone who starts and runs their own business on their own. And I think one of the biggest things that I'm listening to and getting out of you and Abbie's conversation is, what kind of human being do you want to be?
Yeah.
And it's I think this notion that you're just who you are is no longer gonna work. I think the whole conference is literally about what will you create now? I mean, if anything, COVID has taught us, is that anything that we believed before, we've now got to question it and take some real risk. So I think the whole conference is about.
We got to highlight what you just said. Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but for me, it was so good that we have to like, I don't even know how you said it, but it was like, we have to re-look at what we believed in. We have to re-look at what we thought was true about us, the world, and people. And that, I really think, gosh, Gina, that's so great, is like, there is a new truth emerging. Yeah. And I think the opportunity of this conference, of women coming together in this way, is that truth being told, because women have such a beautiful way of telling it. So sorry, Jean, I just wanted to, because I was just like,
well, no, that's okay. I don't know if women know. I don't know if we as humans even have the language for what is emerging. Yeah, I think the conference actually is an opportunity to start to discover the language. See, the reason why the old stuff isn't going to work is because all of that's been used up. So, if you look at everything that's going on, I mean, if you don't even believe what I'm saying, all you got to do is turn on the news and you will see that all kinds of things are collapsing.
Yeah.
And these institutions no longer work. The way we're related to each other no longer work. The descriptions that we've given to define who we are no longer work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure if gender works anymore. Because there's just so much, people are fighting to find the language, the voice in which they can show up and occur as who they truly are. Now, see, that discovery is probably the only thing that's worth living for, is to really discover who you really are, and not even have that be the answer.
Yeah.
Like there's never the answer. There's only, what will I take on next?
I think this is so good. Can I respond to what you just said?
Wait, hold on. Let me just say something. I'm telling y'all, July 16th, 17th, 18th. This is just 2 of the 10 speakers. 2. Go ahead, Abbie, please.
So I think that one of the things that's really important, and this is where I think that the challenge lies, is that what we will end up doing is taking the same approach to change that we've always taken. So, and expecting some kind of new result, which the definition of that is just insanity, because if we take the same approach to change, or the same approach to this new truth, or whatever we want to call it, we will end up with the same results. So this is going to have to take a whole new world of thinking, a whole new world of where do we look from. And I think, can I say something risky? Like, how risky can I get here?
Baby, risk. Look, we're at risk.
Okay, I'm going to go.
Hold on, Abbie, here's what you got to get. The turning point is just that, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be tied up in a bow.
That's right. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we live, and this is no shade to men, because I love men. Okay, I love.
We all do. We all do on this call.
But we are living in a world that was built by men for men. And as women, we do operate differently from men, but are expected to operate in the world the way that men operate in the world. And one of the ways that men operate in the world, and this is something I'll be talking about in my talk, but I'll give you a little snippet, is that they think through things logically, which is great and needed in certain circumstances, but it has brought us to this point. Our leadership has always been men. So one of the kind of, and I feel like it's a little bit of a radical suggestion, but for women, where we think through things, I say, is in our bodies. And that our bodies tell us yes or no. We have gut feelings, women's intuition, witchy powers, spidey sense, like whatever you want to call it. But the more women are disconnected from their bodies, we will have the same results. And for me, it's really important that women get connected to that, because you know, especially those of you who are mothers out there, you've had a sense about your kid. You're like, they're in trouble. I got to call them. And you call them, and guess what? They're in trouble. And that's witchy power, spidey sense, women's intuition, whatever you want to call it, is real for women. It is real. It is real, and it is not valued in business, in sex, and in money. And until the way in which we approach these things becomes of value to people, I think we're going to end up in the same spot. So one of the things I'm really committed to for my contribution to this conference is that women start getting out of their heads and drop down, connected to their bodies, like that oncologist being connected. Do you feel a lump? What's going on with your period? Like, we don't talk about these things because the way our bodies work is just so taboo. But it's real. It's freaking real. And I am passionate about it. And like, I think that that's one thing that there is to confront, is bringing, not eradicating the male perspective or the way they do things, but just bringing value to something else.
Yes, Very well said.
Um,
Abbie, just very well said. And you got out there on the ladies, really? And we got to get on the skinny, we got to unleash it. We can't withhold it. When you withhold it, it goes into your body and causes this illnesses,
That's right.
obesity,
Obesity.
diabetes, cancer.
23.5 million Americans, 23.5 million Americans have autoimmune diseases. 80% of them are women.
Wow.
80% of them are women. This is not just like some like, oh, like, let's just like feel into it. And like, oh, I don't want to be responsible because I don't feel like it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real health concern that this brings to keep asking women to operate the same as men. So
Got it.
Cal,
Well, thank you, Abbie. She's given us a little snippet of what she's going to be talking about. So, Jean, can you give us a little, and I really appreciate it. Look, women, we're going to go places. What's that show? We're going places where the unknown,
That's Star Trek.
What's it called?
Star Trek.
Okay. I don't remember, but anywho.
I'm a Trekkie. So.
You're a Trekkie?
really? Oh my gosh. Are you a Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or the original?
I like that last one. It's on CBS. Discovery.
I'm a Next Generation. I
love Discovery.
Yeah.
All right, you two.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So, Jean, give us a sense of what you're going to speak about.
I'm going to talk about royalty. So the kind of work that I do is having people transform their mindset. I don't think it works to just go do stuff and then step back and look at all the stuff you did. I think you better get that head right. And that's what I work on first. And primarily the issues that I think are impacting people hasn't really been surfaced sufficiently for them even to begin to be responsible for it. And so that's kind of work I do. But a trip to royalty, so if you kind of look at it, there's a lot of words used, particularly the word queen. And people start to, oh, come on, queen, right? And it's like now become just like the wallpaper because that phrase is used so much that now we haven't really defined what queen means. And so I thought a trip to royalty, like from wherever people are in the audience that day and wherever their mindset might be about who they may think they are, royalty means people of royal blood. We're not talking about the known definition of royalty at all. We're going to redefine that, where you start to relate to your royal blood and you start to create for yourself what that looks like and who you are. Before you step out that door, you got to be clear about who you are. And so there will be a series of conversations in which I will have people start to consider you have royal blood, but you're not operating. We don't operate like that. We operate from reacting to what's ever going on in the world. Look, there's so much going on in the world. It's like we're all going nuts. You know, it's like,
right.
You know, like
right.
I got to get a vaccination. And I think that if we take the time to really consider, there's something far beyond just producing results. This is more about impact. You got royal blood. Let's bring a royal argument for greatness.
All righty then.
That's what we'll be working on.
Honey child. All right.
I'm so here for it. Oh my
okay,
God.
well, listen, we're about to bring Coaches and Coffee to a close this morning. I'm going to give Jean and Abbie an opportunity to say anything they want to say in closing, and we're going to create the word for the week. But listen, you guys, don't bypass this opportunity. And I'm telling you, I've been looking at TV and I've been looking at a little radio. There is nothing close to what's going to be happening at Women Poised for Greatness, the Turning Point, July 16th, 17th, and 18th. Yes, there's a nominal fee. So what? We spend that at the MAC counter for our lipstick. Don't you like my lips? Seriously. But I'm telling you, there's going to be nothing going on in the world more powerful and impactful to our future. So there's you in the chair. But remember, the turning point is about a significant change. A turning point is about the future. And the future you will be living into when you walk away Sunday at 4:00. So the link is in the chat. Let me hear from Jean and Abbie. Any closing remarks? I'm serious, you guys. If you haven't registered, get yourselves registered. Quit thinking about it. Quit bypassing it, because we've been throwing it out on Instagram and Facebook. They got me in the digital age. And if they can get me in the digital age, they can get anybody in the digital age. So Jean, Abbie, go ahead.
Well, I just think.
I want Jean to go last. I want Jean to go last because
Okay.
we're talking about royalty, and I just feel like that deserves the final word. And given who Lloyd is for me, I feel like it's only appropriate.
Okay.
I think for me, you know, I'm really out to eradicate the notion of work-life balance, and that it's all life, and that we as women are creating lives that we do not have to escape from. And that notion of self-care, you know, and I think this might tie into the whole royalty thing. So it's really great, Jean. We're on the same wavelength. You know, the notion of self-care is now a $4 billion industry. It is now one more thing women have to do to keep up. And if you're not taking baths and drinking champagne and eating chocolate cake, then you're not caring for yourself. And I actually think this notion of self-care reinforces this problematic solution we've come to, where women are having to work the same as men. So what I'm committed to in this conference, not just for not just in my talk, but for myself walking away from, is releasing my addiction to the hustle. And not the dance, because the dance is super fun, but like the hustle, and you got to have a side hustle in that whole world, and eradicating that notion of work-life balance, which is a radical notion, but that I am so committed that women are really authoring their lives and are saying how their life's going to go, and they honor their intuition, their spidey sense, their bodies, and what really, really works for women. Because when we are aligned, we produce results that cannot be quantified. And that's what I'm committed to.
Beautiful. Thank you, Abbie.
Wow.
Miss Jean Lloyd, the Jean Lloyd.
Well, I just feel that the greatest gift you can give to the world is yourself. And that I find far too many people thinking something's wrong with them. And I just think that my whole work is all about the emancipation of all human spirit. And when a person is freed up to be themselves, I think then there isn't any work. There's just my life. And there isn't anything but joy, because you're loving your life, and your work doesn't look like work. It's just, you have to make yourself go to bed at night because you're having so much fun.
Yeah.
And even with the disappointments and the frustrations and the loss, you can find joy in the midst of all the suffering. That's what royalty is all about, is that whatever life brings to you, you can take it and run with it and grow from it. So
Beautiful.
That to me is what the conference is about.
All right, beautiful. All right, everybody, you can find the conference on Eventbrite, Women Poised for Greatness, July 16th, 17th, 18th. There's a nominal fee. You can handle that. And I'm looking to see you there. Do whatever, listen to me now. Do whatever you need to do. Get Friday off, be there Saturday, and be there Sunday. There's not going to be any throwaways. You want to be there in its entirety. And our word for the week is participation. So here's the thing, and I'm inviting you. This is a personal invitation from myself, Abbie Weiss, Jean Lloyd, the other speakers, is for you to participate. Participation, the action of taking part in something. The action in taking part in something. This is our word for the week. And I'm going to say one more thing about it. You find yourself down, groggy, or not really moving, like vibrant and vital. You know, your access to vitality, aliveness in life is participation. So I'm inviting you to participate with us July 16th, 17th, and 18th. Thank you so much. Listeners, this was a little longer than usual, but this is an important, significant matter. So God bless you. God keep you. Have a magical Monday. Have a spectacular week. And make sure you register. Men, get your women registered. I promise to send someone new home to you. All right, Jean, Abbie, thank you so much. God bless you. And all right, let's roll them. We're going to complete the day. Abbie, there she is. We want to thank our executive producer. Participation. We're having fun this morning. All right, what do I do now?